Good morning, dear children. I welcome you all for today's video class. Let's continue with the next paragraph of this lesson. So in previous session we came to know the author was in a mixed confusion. So mixed feelings that what to say because he had forgotten his wallet and he was not having money in his pocket. Later how he conveys his message to the conductor, does he get excuse or not? Let's see, children. Having searched my pockets in vain for stray coppers and having found I was utterly penniless, I told the conductor with an honest face, as I could assume that I couldn't pay the fare and must go back for money. So politely he spoke with bus conductor and he said that he is not having money in his pocket, he is penniless, and he told in a very honest face, with a very honest face he told that he is not having money, he must go back to take money. Oh, you need not get off, that's all right, he said. All right, said I, but I haven't a copper on me. Oh, I will book you through, he replied. See, what kind of polite reply he got from his conductor, children. Here A.G. Gardner had assumed something, but it was very different. Here, instead of getting angry, the bus conductor politely replied that he will book a ticket. The author need not to get off from the bus. So this kind of polite nature was unexpected by A.G. Gardner. Where do you want to go? And he handled his bundle of tickets with the air of a man who was prepared to give me a ticket for anywhere from the bank to Hong Kong. So later, the bus conductor inquired the author where the author want to go, and later he handled the bundle of tickets to the other man who was looking very friendly like the same bus conductor, children. If it is to be asked to him to book a ticket to Hong Kong also, he was ready to book, it is said here. Just a kind of example. I said it was very kind of him and told him where I wanted to go, and as he gave me the ticket, I said, but where shall I send the fare? So it was a kind of favor he got from bus conductor. He wanted to repay it. A.G. Gardner wanted to repay this courtesy. But here, how he should repay it. So he wanted to know how he should give back, how he should repay this the help which he got from him. Oh, you will see me someday, all right, he said cheerfully as he turned to go. So what the conductor replied, children? When A.G. Gardner asked him that how he should repay it, bus conductor replied that you may get me someday. That time we will see, he said, and he turned to the bus. And then luckily my fingers, still wandering in the corners of my pockets, lighted a shilling and count was squared. But the fact did not lessen the glow of pleasure which so good nature and action had given me. Here when A.G. Gardner saw that the conductor returned back to his bus, the bus left the place. Here again he moved his hand in his pockets, he found a shilling, but it was no use of now. The fact was, only thing was, he encountered with a very polite conductor. He overcame with a very polite conductor that remained in his mind. It was unforgettable moment for him. A good-natured person. The action, how he handled the situation, that impressed him a lot. A.G. Gardner got impressed by his nature, children. A few days after, my most sensitive toe was trampled on rather heavily as I sat reading on top of a bus. So again after a few days, A.G. Gardner was traveling in a bus. So again unpleasant moment it was. The bus conductor stamped his foot when A.G. Gardner was busy in reading. He was on top of a bus. It's the double decker maybe. I looked up with some anger and more agony and saw my friend of a cheerful countenance. So he was, when A.G. Gardner's foot was trampled, he lifted his head and he saw he saw that the same bus conductor was standing in front of him. He was the same person, the good natured person. Sorry sir, he said, I know these are heavy boots. So the bus conductor asked sorry. He apologized that he trampled the foot of A.G. Gardner. Because of his heavy foot, he was feeling uncomfortable. It was inconvenience for him. So it happened. He gave a reason. Got them because my own feet get trod on so much, and now I am treading on the other people. So the conductor explained he was uncomfortable. He was unable to walk properly. So because of that reason, he is trampling others' foot. It was uncomfortable for him and it was inconvenience for him. So it happened. Hope I didn't hurt you, sir. See what kind of words he has used here. He had hurt me, but it was so nice about it that assured him he hadn't. Actually, A.G. Gardner was hurt here, but the good nature, the polite nature of that conductor made him to forget that pain. Isn't it? So, it was so nice of him. So, soon the pain was forgotten by A.G. Gardner. After this, I began to observe him whenever I boarded his bus and found a curious pleasure in the constant good nature of his bearing. So after this incident, after this incident also, A.G. Gardner got very much impressed by the good nature of that conductor. And when he began to observe that conductor, he started to board his bus only. It was his curious nature, A.G. Gardner's curious nature made him to observe and made him to make friendship with that bus conductor. He seemed to have an inexhaustible fund of patience and a gift for making his passengers comfortable. See, now here A.G. Gardner gives an explanation of the nature of that bus conductor. What kind of nature his was? He was having inexhaustible, never-ending patience, and he was keeping the atmosphere of his bus very healthy. He was making his passengers to sit comfortable. He was not at all getting angry on them, children. He was so polite, very humble. I noticed that if it was raining, he would run up the stairs to give someone the tip that there was room inside. So another example he gives here, if it is raining, if he looks at the passenger, if they are feeling uncomfortable, then he used to rush towards them, and he used to tell them that there is room inside in that bus. It's a kind of helping nature, it is explained here. With old people he was considerate as a son, and with children as solicitous as a father. So with old people he was like a obedient son, children, and with children he was just like caring father. He had evident a peculiarly warm place in his heart for young people, and always indulged in some merry east just with them. So always he was having a good atmosphere with everybody. With young people he was talking very heartily, and just a very good atmosphere he has maintained in his bus. If he had a blind man on board, it wasn't enough to set him down safely on the pavement. He would call to Bill in front to wait while he took him across the road or round the corner, or otherwise safely on his way. Another most important example of his nature was, whenever the conductor notices the blind man boarding his bus, he used to get down with that blind man, and he used to tell the driver to wait until he returned. Then conductor himself, was going with that blind man to leave at the corner or to cross the pavement, children, to cross the road. So across the road he would leave, or else around the corner. He used to leave the blind man safely. This was observed by A.G. Gardner. In short, I found that he irradiated such an atmosphere of good temper and kindliness that a journey with him was a lesson in natural courtesy and good manners. So, in short, if we tell about bus conductor, he was a good example of good manners, good temper, and even kindness, and a kind of courtesy, natural courtesy. We can learn from him, children. So, he was a good example. Here, what A.G. Gardner tells us. Okay. That's all for today's session, children. We will continue with some more examples. What A.G. Gardner is telling about the good manners, how we have to instill it, and what kind of example he gives. Let's study in next session. Till then, have a nice day. Thank you.